I've been making guitar noises on YouTube for about 8 years now. I've been making absolutely terrible guitar faces for a lot longer than that. But along the way, the entire YouTube guitar landscape has changed massively, and it's expanded in ways that I think are super positive, with lots of people from different backgrounds posting their content online and sharing their knowledge freely. It's also led to the classic things that happen with any platform where there's a lot of copycat content. The ratio between actual vital information and clickbait style content has definitely skewed towards, being divisive, or the is A better than B style content, or did you see what Leon Todd said about the YouTube guitar landscape? That kind of, reacting to a video and creating this kind of useless discourse. So since you've all been so kind to me over the years, I figured I will tell you about 5 YouTube channels that I think you would all very much enjoy. And they're all channels that are content rich, in my opinion. If you spend 10 minutes watching one of these videos, I think you actually learn things and you get about 10 minutes smarter, unlike watching a video that's just mostly padded out by somebody rehashing the same ideas over and over again and never really reaching a conclusion. So let's get straight into it, lest I become one of those channels that I'm talking about. The first channel that I would highly recommend to all of you is The Other John Brown. So not Monuments John Brown, although he has an amazing YouTube channel and is a fantastic player as well. I'm talking about the bald wonder himself, the Lex Luthor of speaker cabinet tests, The Other John Brown. I first became aware of John when he did this absolutely epic shootout with dozens of different Celestion Vintage 30 speakers. And if you're into guitar tones and you're a speaker nerd, like lots of us are, John's channel is essential viewing. He has massively upped his production game very quickly. John's funny and witty. He's a great player. I think he's got a great taste in tones and overall approach to making YouTube videos. Furthermore, I love the way John approaches presenting data and transparency, and the way he continues to refine his methods. He's an absolute gem. I think John's channel is something that we should all aspire to live up to if we're making guitar videos. And I wish him all the best, because there's been so many great videos that I've watched, whether it's testing ported versus unported cabs, front-loaded versus rear-loaded cabs, different eras of Celestion speakers, introducing me to different types of speakers from other manufacturers. And I'm really excited to see what John does going forward on his channel and what other opportunities come up. And I think you should all definitely go and subscribe to the channel. And again, if you're into nutrient-rich content, kind of skewing towards speakers and guitar amplifiers, I would highly recommend John's channel. Another channel that I was lucky enough to stumble across during the holiday season, and I basically binged all of it, is 8-Bomb Custom. Now, I believe the person doing this is actually a vintage art restorer, which is a whole other universe to the typical luthier's background. But the channel is basically all around how to relic guitars, kind of focusing on classic Gibson style designs and doing recreations of stuff like the Peter Green burst or the Paul Kossoff style burst. He even built guitars for John Sykes and documented that. Now, 8-Bomb has a Patreon channel with a lot more content on there. And something that I think is very interesting and atypical of a lot of guitar-based YouTube channels is that basically they're making the guitars for themselves and to satisfy themselves, and then they might sell some of them, but they sell them to their patrons. So it's not like they're making a bunch of guitars and immediately flipping them. I just think the videos are great, what I'd call slow TV, where it's just someone whittling away in a workshop doing exquisite fine detail work. And it gave me a whole new level of respect for good relicking. This is like Murphy Lab level and beyond on there. And there's a few art restoration channels on YouTube that I really like in a very similar vein on there. And I've learned so much about the whole process of finishing guitars and what goes into, say, a vintage Les Paul style finish, pickups, and lots of other elements on there. And, if you're just generally a guitar nerd, I think you'll really enjoy the 8-Bomb YouTube channel. Some of the early content isn't in English, but they have redubbed it in English, and then all of the newer content is presented in English. So if you're someone who can only speak a single language, and even then I can barely speak the English language, it's great. And again, so much admiration for the craftsmanship that goes into those 8-bomb customs. The next channel is Zilla Cabs. You're probably very familiar with Zilla Cabinets, but one thing that I've been binging recently is all their videos on speakers and speaker cabs in a very similar manner to the other John Brown's channel, where they're comparing speakers side by side. They're doing it in a very rigorous and unbiased and quite scientific way. Plus, there's just great tones and great playing on the channel. They also go into details of things like grill cloth, cabinet size. They're comparing different speakers and different speaker cabinets because guitar speakers are such an integral part of the finished tone that we all know and love. Furthermore, I think it's just a great insight into people who have been running a successful business, making what's probably quite a niche product and shipping it all around the world. I also love the interviews that they've done with Nolly, talking about different speakers and again, providing musical examples of all of these things that we know and love. Plus, their cabinets look absolutely epic, and they've got a new feature on their website, which I've been playing around with recently. It's basically a design your own cabinet style app on their webpage where you can go in and you can try every different finish option. You can spec out speakers and you can go from there and actually order a cabinet. So I'm sure if you're into the sort of tones that I'm into, you're probably well aware of Zilla Cabinets themselves, but their YouTube channel, in my opinion, is essential viewing. Now, all of the channels that I've mentioned here so far, while they're not unpopular, they're definitely in that kind of sub 20,000 subscriber category at the moment, which I think is criminal. I think if you follow me, you should go and follow these channels that I've been talking about. But somebody who's been making videos almost in like a parallel universe to me is Johan Seaborn. And you're probably well aware of Johan. Johan is like the master of vintage Marshall style tones, a fantastic guitar player and bass player and drummer. I just love that he's just set out to make a channel that he likes, and he hasn't changed his methods. His methods have been fantastic, but there's this feeling like I'm hanging out with an uncle from Europe when I watch Johan. It's like being in the room with him, and I love his approach to capturing tones using room mics, using different microphones, basically all the things that I don't do when I'm recording real amps and cabs. Johan is going to the trouble of doing, and plus he's kind of got a bit of that like old school Paul Kossoff DNA in the way that he plays, which I personally love. Pulls amazing tones. He's got great videos about everything Marshall, whether it's speaker cabinets, rare amps, speakers, different tubes, different transformers, but also lots of other amps. If you've watched his most recent video doing some vintage Metallica tones, he manages to get like a Mark Series tone out of a diesel amp, which I think is phenomenal. And just one of those channels, again, I could sit down and watch it all day. And it's got character. You know, the way he shoots his videos, his introductions, it's something that anytime I turn on Johan's channel, I just smile and I just enjoy everything that he's doing. He's a fantastic musician, and I think his channel is an absolute goldmine. The last channel is a newish channel that I started watching, and the recent videos that they've been doing on here have been all about audio production. And if you're vaguely interested in audio production at all, there are so many great tips in here. This is the JP Henry YouTube channel. Now, I don't know JP Henry personally or anything about them, but it looks like they make amplifiers as Henry amps, and they've got some high gain amps, some kind of train wreck style amps that they've made. But recently they've just been doing these mixing tutorials, whether it's on, you know, an Andy Wallace trick for huge bass, or a snare sound, or a Terry Date EQ trick on guitar. The tracks that they're mixing, the sounds that they've got, and then the techniques that they're using are easily applicable for just about anyone. And the way that they're demonstrated and the way they are taught on there is so clear and concise, and such a good example of taking information that has been in circulation for a while on a bunch of different websites and forums, and condensing all of that information into very palatable videos with great tone examples and just a very concise, no frills delivery on there. Again, it's one of those channels which I think is going to blow up and become massive, because the tricks on there, again, are timeless. They're awesome. I think everybody should know them, and I've personally learnt so much from them. Furthermore, it's outside of that realm of the super nerdery that we were talking about with, like, the fine details of speakers or pickups or different components. This is about bringing all of that together into the context of a rock mix. And it's very much my style of music that they're looking at a lot of the time. And I think if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, you'll very much enjoy that channel. Now, I want to hear from all of you. Who are some of your favorite, no nonsense, high nutrient content? Let me know in the comments section below, because I'm always looking for new things to learn and new people to watch here on YouTube. And I massively appreciate all of you who have taken the time to watch some of my videos. Over the 8 years that I've been making guitar noises here on YouTube, may you go and make some glorious guitar noises today. And I'll see you all on the next one.